Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to another podcast brought to you by the wonderful writers of sports-kings.com. Right now, we're bringing you This Week in Sports, where we go all around the sports world to bring you the wacky, the zany, the funny, and the downright serious news that we've got here in the sports world. My name is Joe, filling in at the host spot today for our good friend Andy, who had a last-minute doctor's appointment to go to. With me today, joined as always by our good man Michael down in South Carolina. Michael, how's it going?
I'm Colombians, not for what you guys are thinking, for the wonderful world of coffee. God bless you guys. I mean, this is just fantastic. And shout out to Maxwell House, too. No, wait. No, this is Folgers. Part of waking up really is Folgers.
Quick spot right there. Kelvin, how are you doing, man? You awake without some coffee over there, or how you holding up?
I don't drink coffee. I think it's gross, so you can keep it, Mike.
Yeah, man, gotta say, I'm on team
Very
no
sad.
coffee as well. So.
I'm getting emotional over here, guys. Give me a second.
Okay, so quick shout out as well before we get started. We got a lot of upstate guys on the Sports Kings team, and myself included, being right from Buffalo. Shout out to the Buffalo Bisons for being an answer on Jeopardy last night. That was pretty crazy to see. But
Congratulations, Buffalo Bisons.
Humble clap to the great city. But we're going to hop right into this because we got a lot of good news for you guys today. First up, we got some news about a former Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback, Shea Townsend, who is now the cornerbacks coach at Mississippi State University. And he's in a little bit of trouble because he rented his house out to two males aged 35 and 33. And the tenants were found with, if I'm reading this right, 1,500 bricks of heroin, 16 firearms, more than $100,000 in cash and jewelry, 2 luxury vehicles, Cuban cigars, and a live chicken. That's all that was seized by law enforcement of the DEA.
The chicken.
I love how they throw in a live chicken there. As if like that's anything threatening. You know, heroin, guns, a chicken. They're probably making some illegal eggs in there. Michael, you're our resident, drugs and whatever bust guy after Javaris Crimson, Gilbert Arenas, yada yada yada. Give us your take on this one, then.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the chicken is the most dangerous animal in all the world. Didn't you guys ever watch The Crocodile Hunter? Man, that guy was always talking about how dangerous chickens were. But no, Deshae, I honestly, I'm not on your side just yet, not until you're actually arrested for all this stuff. So, as of right now, he claims that I had no knowledge of all of this. Everything that I did went through a renting agent. Yeah, of course, yeah, blame the renting agent. I think Kelvin, and I don't know if I'm going to start stealing your thunder here in a second or not, but we were talking before the show. Kelvin said that these two gentlemen are probably going to work out a deal where they say that Townsend knew everything and that they were just working for this guy. But I mean, this is stuff that Brian De Palma didn't even picture this when he remade Scarface. I mean, 1,500 bricks of heroin. Oh my God! And a live chicken. I could totally care less about the $100,000 or the 16 firearms and the 2 luxury cars, but 1,500 bricks of heroin and a live chicken, that is serious time. And that's not mentioning the Cuban cigars. I mean, where'd these guys get Cuban cigars? I mean, like, there is some serious... I mean, I'm not surprised because it's the city of Pittsburgh, but there's some serious stuff going on. I mean, I had no idea who Shea Townsend was until about 20 minutes ago when I was looking him up to see who he was and what was going on with him. And that's when I found out he was cornerbacks coach of Mississippi State. And he actually did a decent job with a guy that was drafted in Detroit, who, for some god-awful reason, his name is escaping me right now. And if Andy were here, he'd be able to tell me. Darius Slay. Darius Slay. That's the gentleman.
Yep. Darius Slay was Mississippi State, and I believe Jonathan Banks was a draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Same year,
and there's one
as well.
I was about to say there was one more guy, and they were fantastic corners. So he's doing something right down there in Starksville. However, this could be a serious possibility that something is about to go wrong.
Little pothole. Kelvin, we'll swing it over to you, man. What do you got?
Yeah, like I said before we started the show, I think there's going to be a deal worked out, and Townsend's going to be in a lot more world of hurt than he is right now. Like right now, we can say that he goes through a renting agency. The renting agency does all the background checks, does everything, handles everything. He doesn't see a thing besides the money he's getting for renting out the house and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to he said, she said when it comes to everything. And then, Mike, you might not be worried about the gun part of this, but 16 illegal guns in a house is not a good thing to have.
Neither is a live chicken.
Hey, I'm getting to
Scarface
the
has
live
nothing
chicken
on the
part.
chicken.
I'm getting to the live chicken part. The paper might have got this wrong. The police might have said it was a chicken. It might be a rooster for cockfighting that hasn't come out yet. They're gonna go find a cockfight ring somewhere in that house. There's gonna be a cockfighting ring, and they're gonna discover that the floorboards have a whole bunch of roosters underneath them too. So
Eat your heart out, Michael
that
Vick.
could happen.
Hey man, too soon on that Michael Vick joke. It has been 22.3 years. We'll hold off on that a little bit. But hey man, like I said, Scarface ain't got nothing on the chicken. But yeah, in the end, when you're renting out a property to somebody like that, you're liable for doing your due diligence before you rent it out and say, hey, are these guys gonna store tons of bricks of heroin at this place that I'm renting out to them? And they did. So in the end here, I think Deshae Townsend's gonna be he's gonna be in a world of trouble coming up.
Yeah, forget what you know about Waka Flocka Flame, all the other guys in the Brick Squad Monopoly. These guys are the real Brick Squad Monopoly.
If you guys ever have time today, check out this. Google 5'5", 350-pound man hides 40 bricks of heroin in his belly button.
Oh. Wait. Let me get 5'5".
5'5", 350.
Was it Jared Lorenzen?
No, it's just like a regular
The
Joe,
hefty
man.
lefty.
It was on
man,
a Rochester
Michael.
radio show last night. It was hilarious. I was like, what?
Oh, Michael, thank
And
you for that hefty lefty reference.
The guy's still playing football. Can you believe that?
No way. Where's it? He's got to be playing
Arena
like the
football.
Arena League or something.
Yeah, some
he's
slack ass
in the
arena
Arena
league. That's
He's
like,
a running
even-
back.
no, he's still a quarterback. I swear, he's still a quarterback. The dude needs
Well,
to
they
be
have
playing
him as
offensive
quarterback, but he
line.
played running back. At one game, he played running back on the goal line.
I was going to say, you could throw him at running back and he'd be like the new version of the fridge. I mean,
I was about to say, he really does look like a refrigerator. He's big and white.
His uniform doesn't fit.
No, it really does kind of like, his belly kind of like comes out over it like that, that slack ass uncle that you always see on Cops with the Marlboro hanging out of his mouth. Like this. Let me tell you something, Garrett Copper. Yeah, dude, it's totally Jared Lorenzen. And he's from Kentucky, so it's just like, it's
so
normal.
that fits. But speaking of someone who is not white and not huge like Jared Lorenzen, we're talking about Derek Fisher right now. That was about the worst segue ever.
Beautiful segue.
But we're going to move into the NBA here because there was a bit of breaking news coming out yesterday that one of Phil Jackson's former favorite players, Derek Fisher, Phil Jackson, of course, president of the Knicks right now, is getting ready to hire Fisher as the new head coach of the Knicks after, as soon as he can. Fisher's not playing anymore, is he? No, he's not on the Spurs.
Apparently not.
So
he was with the Thunder.
He was with the Thunder, yeah. Sorry about that. My basketball brain is not really working right now. But it's going to be a 5-year, $25 million contract. And I think that's kind of a lot to give to a guy that's coming fresh out of the NBA. But like we saw with Jason Kidd in Brooklyn this year, I think the possibility is there for a guy that's, intelligent, has been around the league, has been, in title contention, and Fisher won 5 titles under Jackson. What do you guys think? We'll start with Kelvin on this one. How do you think Fisher will inevitably fare as coach of the Knicks?
Well, I said this before the show as well. I've talked to several Knicks fans since this news broke about 8:30 last night when it started coming across my phone and all that stuff. They're not thrilled about this signing. They thought that they should have went out and got Mark Jackson, grabbed him back from ESPN. had him be a short-term deal there. But all in all, it could work out, but I don't think it keeps Melo in New York at the end of the day. I think Melo is like, all right, you're bringing Derek Fisher in, okay. He just got done playing in the league. He has no head coaching experience in the league and all that stuff. He was the president of the Players Union up until after the latest CBA agreement that they signed. I think he gave it up because he knew his career was winding down, and now Chris Paul is the president of the NBA Players Association. So, the best of luck to him. I mean, he's inheriting a team that really didn't play as a cohesive unit for much of last year. They did it for a stretch where they won like 10 games straight. Then after that, it was back to the same old Knicks where, okay, we're going to rely heavily on Melo to score 36 to 37 points and hope our bench and J.R. Smith somehow magically keeps hitting his shot, and that just never panned out. And the way they keep Melo, I think, is if they acquire that number 1 pick. And they're pushing really, really hard for it. And what I've heard is J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, their pick, plus a potential pick next year in the draft for that number 1 pick. And I don't think that's enough to steal from Cleveland, who's trying to lure LeBron James back to Cleveland when they offered John Calipari a 7-year, $80 million head coaching contract, which he turned down.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, is that coaching contracts are getting really big in the NBA now. I think the Calipari deal that Kelvin referenced was to be coach and president of basketball operations for the Cavaliers. So certainly, $5 million a year for Derek Fisher, maybe that's not that big of a bargain. Or
that's minimum wage. That's a minimum salary for a veteran in the league. Yeah. So it's not that bad.
But honestly, I think Phil may have exhausted a lot of his options here in the coaching search before going to a former player of his and saying, hey, you want to come and work with me?
I really think this is the trend now, is what you're going to see. You're going to see veteran players becoming head coaches over coaches who are established in the league. They get fired, and then it's going to be a player that comes in and coaches.
Steve Kerr was Phil's first option, and then he spurns him and goes to Golden State, and they're a plethora of three-point shooters, and that's going to be a deadly team as well. But Michael, what do you think? What do you think is going on with the Knicks here? You think they're going to find a way to figure it out under Fisher, or just more of the same?
Well, like I said a month and a half ago, maybe, whoever this next coach of the Knicks is going to be, it's going to take them a couple years to get the team that Phil wants in the system. And obviously, we've seen reports of him having, already arguments with another guy whose name escapes me, that guy that owns the team that, is apparently Phil's boss, but I don't care who you are, nobody's the boss. Yeah, nobody's the boss of the Zen Master Phil Jackson. I don't care who you are. I'm okay. I mean, as a 50% basketball fan, I'm okay with the deal. I've always had a respect level for Derek Fisher, especially when he was winning us 5 championships in Lakerland. But it is a sad day for Laker Nation, who themselves are looking for a coach. But right quick, I'd like to give a shout out to my boy Darkness. Yes, I can call him Darkness. His real name's Justin, but he lets me call him Darkness. I don't know why, but that's just great. And seriously, follow this guy on Twitter, dudes. At Big Homie Marley. Hilarious. This is what he tweeted yesterday. The Lakers need to make a splash. And I'm talking about 3 fat chicks jumping into a pool splash because Derek Fisher is in New York now. What more do you need a reason to follow this kid? This guy's hilarious. But it really is getting down to that. I mean,
oh my God.
Derek Fisher is going to learn he learned the triangle offense from Phil Jackson. Now he's going to learn how to coach it to players from Phil Jackson. Will the players respond to it? I don't know. I agree with Kelvin. I think Melo's gone after this year because of this move. And even if you did get an established coach in there, it would have to be one that Melo approves of. And don't be surprised if like Kelvin said, don't be surprised if we do see a trend like this happening again. In 2 years, maybe 3, do not be surprised if you see Kobe Bean Bryant doing something like this. I could totally see it. And if that's the case, I'd be all for it. I mean, if he coaches the Lakers in 3 years, I'd be all for that. But you know what? Good luck to you, Derek Fisher. You're going to need it.
See, I mean, I don't think Kobe would be, that great of a coach in the same way that Michael would be a coach, MJ, because, Kobe has that killer mentality. I actually just saw a report about this, that an old player came out into an interview and basically said Kobe told him, don't talk to me during practice. Kobe is focused on very much himself being the best that he can be, I think. And for that reason, I don't think he would make a very good coach, trying to encourage a team effort and trying to bring out the best in other players. I think maybe, throw this out there. Do you think we could see Tim Duncan take over for Popovich at any point, San Antonio?
That's very possible.
That was my next coach player.
I'm waiting for David Robinson to do that too, though. I mean, the Admiral was always a chill dude. He could be a heck of a coach, especially since you don't really see any big, 7-foot coaches in the NBA.
I just want to see Shaq as a coach because I know his post-game interviews would be the absolute best.
Oh my God, that'd be great. It's like, Shaq, tell us about, why couldn't your team make a free throw tonight?
Because I couldn't.
God, we'd have Gold Bond foot powder sitting on the table the whole time.
We got too many things. Icy hot. Blah, blah, blah. If you guys want to see a great Shaq impersonation, go watch Aries Spears do his Shaq impersonation. Spot on. Oh my God, spot on.
Just because Sports Kings are pretty crazy, I actually want to call a bit of an audible here because we already mentioned it a little bit. The report that Calipari turned down a monster offer from the Cavaliers to stay at Kentucky. Just quick thoughts, guys. We'll run through the line, start with Kelvin, come back around. Do you guys think Calipari made the right move? Real quick.
Did he make the right move? Probably in the long run, because really does Calipari bring LeBron back to Cleveland if he opts out? I don't think LeBron opts out if Miami wins the title this year. And I think they're going to. I picked them in 7 to beat San Antonio. So I think LeBron stays in Miami, doesn't opt out, and plays the final years of his contract out in Miami. Then would probably jump ship and go back to Cleveland like that. But Calipari, no, he made the right choice. He's got #1 draft class coming out again. So why not make another run for the title?
Michael?
John Calipari made the perfect decision. A, it's Cleveland. Even Art Modell wanted to leave Cleveland. B, it's Cleveland. I don't know what more else to say other than the fact that LeBron James is never coming back, guys.
Anyway, you're going to drop in there point C, it's Cleveland?
Yeah, exactly. Take it from Eminem. Snap back to reality. LeBron James is in Dade County, making absorbent amounts of money in a place that is 85 degrees year-round. Why the hell would you want to go back to Cleveland for the winter?
and hey, man, no income tax in Miami. That's how they all live it up.
Cleveland hasn't been the place to be since 1995, when the Indians were in the World Series, where they got beat 4-1 by my Braves. When Cleveland was actually a Super Bowl contender before Andre Bad Moon Rising graced his presence and completely killed that franchise, along with the fact that Art Modell moved the team. Which, by the way, shout out to the NFL Network for running a Football Life Cleveland 95. I actually watched that like 3 or 4 times, and I still think that if Cleveland would have stayed in Cleveland, Bill Belichick would have won a Super Bowl in Cleveland. And I hate Bill Belichick, but I believe that would have happened.
Certainly. Yeah,
but he's not coming back, guys.
No.
LeBron is staying in Miami for the rest of his life.
I've said it all along whenever people brought up to me, hey, do you think LeBron's going to go back to Cleveland? After the way he left, and after the way Dan Gilbert said, screw you, LeBron, for leaving us on national television, we don't want you. I mean, I think obviously he'll retread a little bit from that if he has a chance to get the best player in the NBA on his roster. But I really don't think that LeBron will, maybe he signs back there for a 1-day contract to retire as a member of the Cavaliers.
And even then, I don't think I don't think they take him.
No,
because now
I don't think they would do it.
Because you think about it nowadays, more than a decade into his career, I think now, do most people think of LeBron James as a member of the Miami Heat or a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers? And it says the Miami Heat, and I think that's where he should stay at this point.
Nobody remember. It's a footnote in history that he was a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the only reason we have proof of that is the 2007 NBA Finals, where he single-handedly, maybe with Antoine Jameson's help, single-handedly took that team to the finals.
Yeah, and certainly on Calipari, the burden of being the president of operations and a head coach in the NBA would be so high. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the last guy to do that was Pat Riley. Maybe Phil Jackson with the Lakers. Yeah, but that's...
No, I'm pretty sure it's Pat Riley.
That's something that you need in the elite. That's something you need in the elite.
You see it in other sports. You see it in other sports where your coach and especially in our favorite sport of hockey. Mm-hmm. You see coach and general manager they're the same person, and usually the coach aspect of it is more difficult to do than the general manager side.
Because there's so much more to do.
They will drop the coaching prospect. They'll drop the coaching title and be a general manager. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I would certainly agree and said Calipari. Take a little less money, stay in Kentucky. You got a good gig. You got a chance to win a title every year. No reason to leave that.
It's not like he took less money. He just he just re-signed
like
5 years,
million
like
to
$57 million. So
yeah, not very bad at all.
It's not like he's taking a huge pay cut.
Yeah, we're gonna move on here because we actually got some baseball news creeping in here to this week in sports. We're talking about Baltimore Orioles third baseman Manny Machado. This guy, I may have to defer to your guys' better opinion here. I don't, know why it's such a big deal that a guy like flung his baseball bat at third base and throw his helmet off or something like that.
I can tell you why.
Yeah, man. Hey, you want to tell me why? Go for it.
So you've seen the tape, right?
Yes.
Have you seen the ESPN angle from behind him when the ball's already in the catcher's glove and then he swings and throws his bat? That is why this is a big deal. It was intentional, but it wasn't supposed to go to third base. It was supposed to go back toward the pitcher, and he held it a little bit too long, so it went over to third base. Because the pitcher threw in before this, and the game was like 10-0 at the time. So he should have been trying to brush him off, yes, but at the same time, it's baseball. And everybody in the league knows that Manny Machado is just an explosion waiting to happen every game. Like it's just like Gomez from what is it? Milwaukee there.
Carlos Gomez.
Yeah. It's like a ticking time bomb. When's it going to happen? Like this isn't his first rodeo. This year's not his first rodeo, causing benches clearing brawls and stuff like that. So I just don't get it because he's such a great gifted athlete that I think he knows it, and he's like 25, I think, and he needs to be sat down by a veteran and told that he needs to start acting better and acting like the game of baseball is his life, not just a gift that was given to him, because it could be taken away like that, even though he is so young and talented. And I just hate to see it happen to a player that's this talented. Yes, he's in the AL East. Yes, I'm a Yankees fan, so I'll be biased here. I can't stand the guy because he's on Baltimore, and I'm beginning to hate him even more because of how he's playing the game. Like, it's the game that I grew up playing. It's the game I love. It's my biggest thing. And he's ruining it for the simple fact that he thinks he's better than everybody else when he hasn't. He's proven he can hit. He's proven he can defend. But at the end of the day, what have you done in the postseason? Nothing. And that's what he's going to be remembered for, is the postseason. What do you do in the postseason?
Yeah, certainly. The Orioles are really a team on the rise, from what I can tell. Over the last 2 or 3 years, they started to rise up from the base. They were always in the basement of the AL East. Now they're starting to gain some traction, but it's certainly a competitive division. I think the thing I'm noticing, though, is that we're starting to see a lot more violent incidents in baseball. Not just bench clearing brawls, but guys going at it, getting mixed up during games and all that stuff. And it's certainly a change to the game. But maybe Michael's got something to say about this.
Well, I mean, first off, you have to give credit to Buck Showalter right now for turning this Orioles team around. I mean, good for you. When Gary Thorne, the great Gary Thorne, who we all know and love from every single NHL game from 2007 or 8 till actually 14, because 15 is going to be Darren Pang. I'm so excited. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. When he says it's intent, and he, commentates all Orioles games, and he says there's intent, there was intent. I mean, he's a young guy. Machado's a year young, maybe a year older than I am. I get what happened. He got a little hot-headed. Somebody throws behind you with, 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and you let it slip a little bit. I understand why it happened. It's kind of one of those. He had a Richard Sherman moment. Let's put it like that. He had a Richard Sherman moment. It kind of got. He kind of got a little out of. He had an out-of-mind experience or something. I don't know. I guess I'm just one of those people who always likes to see benches clear no matter what sport. So I was totally cool with it. But at the same time, as somebody who knows about the tradition of baseball and the respect level in baseball for those traditions, it's kind of, I don't want to say degrading, but there's always a little bit of a disgust level right here. And Kelvin's absolutely right. Somebody does need to sit him down and be like, hey, that shit doesn't fly here.
And it
may
be
fly
the MLB
down there in high school.
Suspension.
It may fly down there in high school, but that shit doesn't fly here. You're supposed to be this guy was heralded as the second coming of A-Rod coming out of high school when he got drafted. Now, I don't know about you, but if somebody, said I was the second coming of Alex Rodriguez, minus the steroids, as long as Chelsea Handler doesn't start, calling me a piece of, cover your ears, people, a piece of shit, I'd be cool with it. Hey, that's cool with me, man. I get to make Buku Dolores and meet plenty of fine-looking women, and, I mean, of course I wouldn't do steroids, but, hey, I'd be all for it.
Man, if he's already having rage fits like this, who knows if he's already not full Alex Rodriguez.
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That is a valid point.
Oh, I was just throwing that out there. I don't even.
Every other thing I've seen about Manny Machado before this incident has always been, like a decent, a decent kid. I mean, he's always got that goofy-looking grin on his face after he hits a ball. That Jacob Gatewood, who just got drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers, has the exact same goofy-ass grin on his face every time he hits a ball. I don't know what it is about these young kids and their goofy-ass grins, but
by the way, I
don't know if it's going to happen again. I don't know if it's going to happen again. But it's definitely something to look for, to watch next time these guys play.
Oh yeah, Kelvin, were you trying to get in there with something?
Yeah, my boy from TCU, I believe, is pitching tomorrow night for TCU in the World Baseball Championship. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Oh, did they end up beating Pepperdine last night? Because it was Pepperdine and
it was tied 1-1 when I last saw it. I had to go to
last I saw Pepperdine was up 3-1.
Yeah, that was
and
the last
winner
I
went
saw
to
as well.
Yeah, and the winner was going to the College World Series, and I don't know what happened.
But
I think I thought they played tomorrow.
Yeah, obviously there's Game 3 now. Then Pepperdine must have won last night because I know TCU had the first one.
Because TCU won the first one. It's the best of 3. So I think that it's tomorrow night.
Nice.
Or it might be tonight. I can't remember.
We'll have to check on that, guys.
I was drinking at the time.
Shout out to the College World Series for being the next best World Series in the world.
Second best.
Second best. We're wrapping up here with This Week in Sports, but we've got one more big topic, kind of in the same vein of John Calipari, college versus pro, which kind of head coaching job would you like to have? And we're talking about Pete Carroll, who is fresh off of winning a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and reports coming out this week saying that if he had known about the sanctions that were coming out at USC, exactly what they were going to get when he decided to leave for Seattle, he says that he would have stayed. And reading from CBS Sports here, Carroll said the truth was an opportunity came up, and it was one I couldn't turn away from, that being the Seahawks. The NCAA came back at the university. Now we're going to revisit after 5 years. I had no idea. I had no knowledge that was coming. We thought maybe it wasn't coming because they didn't have anything to get us with. It wasn't 5 days. It wasn't 5 weeks. It was 5 years. Had we known that that was imminent, I would never have been able to leave under those circumstances. When I look back now, I would have stayed there to do what we needed to do to resolve the problem. No way. I'm reading all that, and I'm just like, Pete Carroll, come on. You just won a Super Bowl. You've built, hands down, the best defense in the league with Seattle. And you're saying, oh, had I known what the university was going to go through in spite of right after I left, then I would have stayed to help USC through it and then gone back to the NFL. No way. No, he wouldn't have. I'm not buying any of it. Michael, let's see what you got. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to put on some pinstripes here, be a referee, and throw the bullshit flag on this one. I mean, this is just you seriously need boots to talk to this guy. I mean, this is just awful. I know weed is legal in Seattle, and I think Pete got a hold of some good stuff. I really do. I mean, that's just oh my God. I would have stayed, dude. Come on. I think you knew sanctions were coming. Now, I know I read the same article you did, Joe, and I think that the writer from CBS Sports ends up saying whether you believe him or not is irrelevant. No, I think it's pretty relevant right now. Let's take a look at this here. I'm Pete Carroll.
Will Brinson from CBS Sports here.
At the time I leave, I'm like 57, 58 years. I'm Pete Carroll. I'm 62 years old now. I'm the youngest looking 62-year-old on the planet. I'm maybe 56, 57 when I leave Southern California. I've built a dynasty that hasn't been seen in Los Angeles in Trojan Red since the 70s, maybe the early 80s when OJ was running the ball. Marcus Allen, these great running backs came through. I'm pretty sure Lynn Swann was a Trojan. Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, these great names. We're getting to that. And I built this program back. I brought them back. I brought in Carson Palmer, who won a Heisman Trophy, was drafted #1 overall, and has since had a mediocre career. I brought in Matt Leinart, who was supposed to be the savior of the Arizona Cardinals, and is doing nothing right now. I brought in Reggie Bush, who was drafted 2nd overall, won a Heisman Trophy, and had it stripped away. I won national titles and had them taken away. You yourself were responsible for bringing down your own dynasty. Of course you wanted to leave. I didn't want to leave. Come on, man. Of course you wanted to leave. You knew you were going to go back to the NFL, where you had had 0 success before. You had a failed job with the Patriots. You were replaced by Bill Parcells, who took them to a Super Bowl like the next year. You had a failed job with the Jets. You and Rich Kotite both. I mean, but let's face it, Rich Kotite failed at everything.
Rich Kotite.
I thought you were going to, you were the sole reason why everybody hated USC, because you kept winning.
And then
you wanted to leave, man. Stop lying. Tell the truth.
Wow,
I would have wanted to leave.
Chip
Kelly wanted to leave. Chip Kelly's in Philly. Don't be us, man.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, that is Michael laying down the law. Kelvin, you got any thunder left here, or what's going on?
I don't think you can follow that, Kelvin. I just dropped the mic and left.
I've got my Sports Nation not BS meter out, and it's just gonna be it's just gonna go all the way to the BS side of this. I want to sit down with I want to just talk to the CBS reporter that interviewed him and see if he was looking down into the left when he was saying this, because that's a typical sales sign of somebody lying out their ass. And I'm pretty sure that he is lying, because who in their right mind wants to stay in college and then go coach in the NFL, especially when he wanted to stay on the West Coast to coach an NFL team if he was going to leave USC. And it just magically happened to be the year that everything was going to go down and Seattle wants him. Oh, okay, see ya. I'm going straight up. I'll go straight up the coast to Washington and be fine. So I find it hard to believe that he would have stayed if he knew all this was coming. And who's to say he wouldn't have been fired for all this stuff anyway, as part of the deal that may have lessened the load on USC to begin with.
Yeah, and if that's the case, if you would have wanted to stay, you wouldn't have won a Super Bowl, built a ferocious defense. You wouldn't have won any more national.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have won any more national titles because of the postseason bans. Lost to scholarship means you would have gotten maybe half the blue chippers that you
Mediocre
would have thought
talent.
you would have. It's basically everything that has happened to USC, just with different coaches. It's not Lane Kiffin. I mean, Lane Kiffin may have been able to do a decent job had it not been for Pete Carroll. I'm not saying that it would have happened
Because
basically
considering
Lane
Kiffin is
piggybacked
still
off
Lane
of Monty's back. But, I think Steve Sarkisian's going to do an okay job. I really do. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, all the postseason bans are gone, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about
Should
right.
be around that time. Yeah, it should be around that time that everything's starting to go back to normal. Sarkisian can recruit. We saw that at Washington. He knows the USC system. He was the offensive coordinator at USC. He knows the winning culture there. He's got a shot to bring that team back to where it needs to be. 9-7, not 9-6. Yeah, 9-3 is pretty. It's pretty doable for USC this year. I mean, Oregon starting to, I don't want to say they're leveling out right now, but it's possible that we could be seeing a small decline in Oregon now that Chip Kelly's gone. Stanford just lost their defensive coordinator to Vanderbilt, but they're always tough, even though they did lose Shane Scoff. UCLA is on the rise, and I know Trojan fans don't want to hear that. UCLA is on the rise. They're back. And Arizona State's dangerous. Todd Graham has got that team ready. They're dangerous this year. It's very this Pac-12. It's a dangerous conference. Not a lot of people are talking about it. Watch out, guys.
Because it's not the SEC. Yeah. It's all SEC in college football.
Oh yeah.
Which is that'll be a whole nother show where we can just get into all that crap, because that's just crap.
Oh yeah. Can't wait until we get closer to college football season.
Oh,
I think the thing to notice with Pete Carroll here is that when he was at USC, he was the guy recruiting the team. He was the guy coaching the guys up. He for all intents and purposes, ran the show there at USC. He goes up to Seattle, and he's got one of the most brilliant front office minds in the league in John Schneider, their general manager, who played a huge role at the draft and bringing Russell Wilson, getting confused there, trading for Marshawn Lynch from Buffalo, helping to put that defense together, finding Richard Sherman in the 5th round. Pete Carroll's a great coach. Not going to take anything away from him, but he had a lot of help up in Seattle that he did not have at USC, and I think he recognized that, to put together a huge, winning organization like that, he wanted to fade out of the spotlight, where he wasn't, the only guy, the total face of the program. And I think had he stayed at USC through the sanctions, had he done a good job and brought them through them, then, oh yeah, all hail Pete Carroll. He saved USC from the worst time in school history. But, because he bailed and now everybody says, oh, there's never going to be a favorable view of Pete Carroll at USC, at least in my outsider's opinion. Maybe Michael's a little more educated on that. Any last words here, boys, before we wrap this thing up?
Hey, be sure to join us in about 2 minutes or so when we talk some puck. Yes, that's right. Kings of the Rink coming at you in probably 5 minutes. So be sure to stick around for that. I guarantee you, if you liked this show, you liked how cool and educative and edgy we were, you just wait till we actually talk about things that we know.
Oh yeah, you can find all of our podcasts on our Sports Kings YouTube channel. You can go ahead and subscribe and make sure you don't miss any of ours. We got Diamond Kings going on with baseball. We've got Ring Kings going on with our new boxing website. We've got NFL
and
talk.
Wrestling. Do not forget wrestling.
Oh yeah, never forget the wrestling. And like we said, the three of us are coming right back at you with a brand new hockey podcast right now for Kings of the Rink. And we're going to sign off this week for This Week in Sports. I'm Joe, and just like to thank all of our loving followers for tuning into this podcast, because we love followers. Thanks, guys.